gracious. Welcome to TL's Roadhouse. We got Ernest in the house. You got cans? You good?
Yeah.
Break? You got them going on?
We're perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to come.
I'm going to come. Already did. Hey, that has been such a funny quote for like 6 months for me ever since I saw that video, dude.
The Don. You got to love Don, man.
You guys ready? Hey, breakfast is ready. You coming in here? I'm going to come.
I've been so looking forward to sitting down and chatting with you, man.
Likewise, dude.
Let's go. Awesome. There are no boundaries.
No boundaries.
I have no idea what the hell we're going to talk about, but it's going to be good. I know that. So you were asking me a while ago, had I ever, did I know George Jones? Man? Yes, I got to tour with Jones early on, man. And I just finished watching George and Tammy. The storyline's very interesting, but the vocals are atrocious. It's just so bad.
Yeah,
I had a hard time getting through it, man. And being out there with Jones and watching the charisma that he had, even at the later stage of live, man.
How old was he when you were out?
Just got him out of damn thing. You know, where he'd get to jigging on stage and the whole place would freaking erupt, man. He had these little things that he did that were he's deaf as hell. He couldn't remember the words, you know. And
I've seen some great videos of him at all different stages.
Oh yeah,
damn,
he was definitely.
It
It gives me hope that I can live into my 80s.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Hey, I had a song I did. It's called "Keeping Up with Jones." It's like I could probably keep up with the Joneses, but there ain't no keeping up with Jones. Yeah. I met George Jones and his wife was
Nancy.
Yeah. I met George and Nancy at Best Buy in Cool Springs when I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
No kidding.
And God, if I could go back to me now and be 7 and be like, fucking ask him something, say something. Hey, Mr. Jones, like my mom just was like, you're gonna want to go meet him. So thanks, Mom.
But you met him.
It's so sick. You got to tour. How old was he when you were touring with him?
Golly, so that would have been in the 90s. George died in 2011 or so, and he was 82. He was probably late 60s, something like that. I mean, I was 23, 24 years old. You know, and what always impressed me about him, and I've taken this into where I'm at this stage of my life, you know, there's a when you're having radio success and all that stuff, it's quite the roller coaster ride. Being able to see records go up the charts, you kind of get spoiled to it. It's a whole different thing than very few people get to experience. And then when it stops, there's a frustration and a decompression, wondering if what's going to happen on the backside. And my point being, in the late 80s, you've got all those guys like Haggard and Jones and Waylon and Willie and all those guys that had been dominating the radio airplay for years and years and years and years. And then at the end of the 80s, man, in 89, when Garth and Travis and Vince and Chestnut and Allen and all those guys came out, everything started changing. And then in the early 90s, they switched to this thing called Young Country. All the radio stations started changing formats. So all of us kids exploded out there. There was this whole new wave of young country music.
Like they flipped a switch on
everybody that had been getting airplay for decades, it was over. And they blamed us. They were mad at us. I mean, they were really angry. They didn't want to be around us. They didn't want to work with us. I mean, it was kind of nasty for a while. The only one that didn't do that was George. George embraced it. I mean, he did I Don't Need No Rocking Chair. He had all of us out on tour with him.
What a song, dude. Were you on that?
I was not on the record, but I was on the tour, man. I was just getting launched out there at that particular time, but I got to spend a lot of time with Jones out there on the road, and it made me realize as my radio career came to an end and things changed for me that I really wanted to be a guy that embraced the younger generation and made relationships and reached across the aisle and had the olive branch. I mean, that's important to me. I think it's because really and truly we all still are passionate about the same things. We're not that different. We just live in a different time period.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. God, Dean Dillon, when he was accepting the Icon Award at the BMI Awards, I saw him give a speech on YouTube, and he had a quote because I think it was like 2013. So I think that same kind of changing in the guard was happening. Yeah. That ain't country shit was on the radio, and he just said, he was holding the award, and he said, "Man, everybody is singing to their generation, and these guys are just some cowboys getting out there and singing to their generation." And it's like, yes, we're all just growing up taking in what we grew up on, and then
Absolutely.
putting out what we are inspired to put out. And I just happen to have been inspired by all different, I guess, eras of music in all genres.
Absolutely.
And yeah, go ahead.
But we're all but we I mean I grew up listening to hair bands,
Yes.
you know, like Van Halen and got into Zeppelin real heavy in college. I mean, I listened to all kinds of different things. Didn't have the voice to do that. Wished I would have, but it wasn't where I was meant to be.
Right. Yeah, country found me, and I grew up in Nashville. Like I kind of almost avoided doing country for several years because of how cliche I thought it would be. Because but now it's like I embrace that, and I wish I had embraced it sooner. But it's sick to get to sit here and talk with you because obviously I grew up on your stuff as much as I grew up on Jones and
Yeah.
as much as I grew up on Eminem and all the same shit. So your music has been a part of my DNA. It's cool we get to kick it because my role in country music, if I had to label a role I have, is to continue. Period. Whatever country started on, I want to continue that. And like songwriting, I believe, was at the heart of it.
I believe it's always been the heart of country music, and it ebbs and flows, man. It gets over poetic at times, it gets over cowboy at times, it gets over pop at times, but it always swings back. It always finds its center. You know, you go back to the '80s when guys like Kenny Rogers were coming out, and you had Alabama. Everybody said, "Oh, they're too pop," and all this stuff, but it swings, man. Then you know it's fascinating to watch, and I think it runs in 10-year cycles. Have you noticed that?
Maybe now because I'm just on my third one, and I was probably not conscious about it for the second one. But looking back at it, it is crazy though. You say that because Kenny Rogers in Alabama, if I put on a classic country playlist, they're definitely going to be on.
And that's '80s.
That's right. That's
But you got George Strait and Randy Travis in there too, and then Keith Whitley toward the bottom of the decade. But then you got the shift into the '90s, that whole young country movement,
Right.
and then everything started. Songwriting got a little bland at the end of the '90s, and then you had guys like Keith Urban and Rascal Flatts and stuff
Right.
that popped in the 2000s, and then you had your bro country era in the next decade. So it
No, you're right. That is
pivots, man.
Yeah. Wow.
It's about on an 8 to 10-year pendulum swing, man. It's pretty wild.
But is it circular? Is it going back to where it once was?
I think it's coming back to more real, true songwriting. I think true guys, true poets like yourself and like Hardy and Bobby Pinson. I put Bobby in that category
Bobby's
too. Guys,
great.
guys that and I use this phrase a lot, like when Jamie Johnson wrote In Color, where you can close your eyes and you can see the scene. Where when you really are so good with the way that you use words and the melody that you can just paint the scene with those words. It's an amazing talent.
Yeah, and I think growing up, listening to it, I've just been really lucky to land where I was adopted when I was 3 weeks old. My parents who adopted me, athletes, not song people. I just grew up in a house where
Really?
my dad was a baseball coach, mom was a basketball player. And so, but I was always chasing music where I heard it and where I wanted to play. I got a banjo. I think I had there were several ways I got here. My older cousin played mandolin, so I thought that was cool. And then I got a Flat and Scruggs CD, like second grade maybe, and I was wearing it out.
So were you a grasser early?
Early.
Yeah.
So third grade, Christmas, I got a banjo for Christmas. My parents, obviously, they don't play anything, but they saw that I got a drum set and a banjo and the Space Jam soundtrack. and so while I'm lightning strikes the course, lights get dim, supreme competition is about to begin above the rim, finessing. I'm in the third grade doing that shit, but at the same time, it's like, don't get my love for, I'm learning, that down Cripple Creek. I mean, I'm learning all this shit, and I get banjo lessons. My mom was like, well, take him to Rob Jackson Music Studio and learn some banjo. And I just was always, no matter what direction I was headed, even if they cringed through my rapping days, they still supported me at their distance and whatever they needed to do. They got me the guitars. They got me all this stuff. And now, I know what I was getting to. The way the music that I was able to hear was a byproduct because I became friends with Rafe Tenpenny in the 5th grade, Mitchell's younger brother.
Gotcha.
We both showed up at Lipscomb. Obviously, their mother Debbie is the daughter of Donna Hilly, the Queen of Music Row.
Yes, I know Donna.
Yes. So when I got introduced to Rafe as a fifth grader, I was getting to hear all these CDs and demos and shit from hanging out at the Tenpenny House that Mitchell was either finding. Like him and Sidney Clausen found Lost in This Moment with You when they were in the 8th grade, and they re-recorded a demo, and then she got it back to John Rich.
Wow.
So like I was getting to hear all this stuff. I was getting to hear early Rodney demos, and I was 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, and I was just like, yo, this is a world, you know? My mom was like, try to get a job at the mailroom. I was like, no, I'm going to try to get a job writing songs. But I ain't going to work. I'm not a mailman. You know? But I had, in the weirdest way, instead of having musical parents, I landed in the perfect home to be able to be exposed to the things that crafted my DNA as a songwriter now.
Wow. So have you tracked down your biological parents, or you kind of let that go?
I've not made any effort to find them.
You know, I grew up I grew up with a stepfather, and I didn't have any contact with my biological father, and till I was in my early like 19, 20 years old, and you know, sometimes it's best just to let things lay. Yeah, I mean, and
I love my parents. I've went through the whole young elementary, middle, some of high school, pissed off. Like, if anything, I was using it as raps. You know, I thought I was Eminem, so pissed off at my mom. But the older I get, I'm like very thankful. I'm very grateful. She did that out of love. That's a tough thing. I got my own kid now. I get it. It's like you got to love somebody to let them go sometimes. And because of that, I'm sitting here, by God, on Tracy Lawrence, bud, and we're talking on him.
so tell me, musical style wise, when you started writing songs, what was some of the early stuff that influenced you? I mean, were you digging on country, or were you writing rap stuff? I mean, were you just all over the place when you?
Yeah, all over the place. So like, I think some of the first songs I wrote, I was probably literally to no music, just sitting in the classroom
Writing poetry.
Writing poetry.
Yeah.
And I was writing love song. 5th grade, remember specifically writing the whole deal and handing it off, you know,
Working it. Yeah.
And I was figuring out GDC all along, and I'd get home in the afternoon, and I wouldn't. It could have been country. I had no twang. It was like emo kind of John Mayer. Like, I was really listening to a lot of John Mayer and stuff too. But that would have been, you know, 2002, 2003. So that was country radio, and then my dad was listening to country radio on the way into school. So I was taking that in. It was either that or sports talk radio.
Yeah.
Didn't really take that in. And so I was writing that. But at the same, like, I remember my first time I ever rapped my own words was I was replacing the words to my milkshake brings all the boys here. I said, my Pokemon brings all the nerds to the yard. And they're like, do you want to trade cars? And I'm like, yeah, I'll trade cars, but I ain't going to trade you my Charizard. And I was like in the 3rd or 2nd grade. Private school at Lipscomb with my baggy cargo khaki shorts on and some Filas. Thought I was something.
Oh, to be young again.
Oh God, I think I'm all right being 31.
You survived it all.
Yeah.
So I know you just started your own publishing company. Let's talk about. I know a lot of people. I get asked all the time, man. People have this misconception. They think that when you record somebody's song, that you like. If you wrote a song and I wanted it, they think that I would come to you and say, I want to buy that song from you, and I pay you money, and then I record your song, and that's the end of it. Right. Publishing is a whole different deal. So let's talk about that and see if we can kind of clarify things. The way that publishing works in this town is there's 100% of the publishing and 100% of the writer. So when you sign a publishing deal, you're going to give them 100% of your publishing, or whatever deal you work out, depending on what kind of leverage that you've got. You keep your writers, and you're required to write so many songs. So if you're required to write 10 or 12 songs a year, if you do co-writes, that's 20 to 24 songs a year, XYZ. They'll give you a draw. Say if they give you a draw of $600 or $1,000 a week, whatever that draw is, and then when you they pay your recording costs for your demos and the pitch team and all that stuff, they recoup that money, but that comes back out of your writer's draw. So that's how, when you get cuts, that's how all that stuff works. Can you clarify anything more?
No, this is great for me. Can you? Can you expound?
I'm glad I can help. Let me get the whiteboard out.
Yeah, this is good. And all the guys at Cadillac, this is okay. I know what I'm doing. All right, I hope you're right.
All lawyers, I got an idea.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty much good to me. Where do I sign? Man, I don't know why
All good information.
Oh my God. Oh, kill him. Glad I could help.
Look, I'll say this.
Oh,
This is definitely the industry that I have had to completely submerge myself in to learn anything. Like I wouldn't have been a sit in school at Belmont and learn about the industry. I'm very field study.
I understand. Yeah.
So it is. I was sitting in a business meeting the other day on the publisher side of publishing. With the same lawyers I have to sit across the other side of the table from as the writer side of publishing, and I'm just like, oh, damn, little businessman right now. I'm in here. I got my coffee. I got a
pad of paper in front of me.
I'm in a glass room at a table with chairs. There's lawyers here. I'm like, this isn't a deposition. Things are going good.
Touche. Oh my goodness. The music industry is a complicated beast, and I'm very passionate about it. I love all the ins and outs of it all. I was going to try to use a big word, but it escaped me.
Delicacies, intricacies,
intricacies. Yeah.
Incarcerations.
Oh my gosh.
But no. And speaking of the Cadillac thing, it's like I didn't know that I was going to be a publisher this fast. I always had the goal of having a publishing company and being able to find, cool kids and bridge that gap the way that the Warren Brothers did for me when they signed my co-pub with Sony ATV the first time.
Yeah.
And having their co-sign got me into all the rooms I didn't deserve to be in at that point. But then it also allowed me to have the responsibility to get that room back. And I want to do that for, whoever crosses my palate that I'm inspired by. And it's like the fact that I got to start now just means now is the time. So,
think about this. Your generation compared to mine as a songwriter, the vocabulary and the word bank has a lot of new words in it from when I started writing songs. It's a completely different playing field than what it used to be. I mean, there's a whole different language out there now with social consciousness and wokeness and all this other stuff. Man, have you thought about that at all?
I don't know if I have because in that I guess we're a little more edgy getting to shoot.
No, but I mean terms like cell phones and
yeah,
woke
right,
and,
right,
and just
right.
There's a whole new dialect out there of words that we didn't use or didn't have to explain a situation before.
Yeah, it is wild. But I think in the writers' rooms, sometimes I'm conscious of if we put something in a song like that, it dates it automatically. Like I wouldn't put Xbox in a country song. It's like if people do, but I think that dates it.
Well, because think about it, there's a song I had called "Is That a Tear" that talks about leaving a message on an answer machine. Songs about jukeboxes, putting quarters in a jukebox. None of that stuff is relevant nowadays.
Yeah, but I'll put jukebox in a song today before I put boombox.
Really?
For sure. I think, bless you. Was that a sneeze? I thought I heard something.
No, that came out the other end.
Yeah, I didn't know what it. Bless her either way, yeah, to me, and maybe that's just me, and the kind of songs I like to write. So, but yeah, like I would rather put jukebox in a song and use those words. I think the words you all were using are fucking. When I think about a country song, those are the songs and what I think of.
Then you're an old soul. Then
I know I'm an old soul.
Because when you talk about being passionate about it from when you came, I was the same way. And when you come out of the womb with that kind of passion, it's just what you're meant to do. It really is, man. Yeah. So I get that.
So that's for me personally, but also like songs I've written for other artists and stuff too. Like it is fun to think outside of the box of social norms when it or not social norms, industry norms, radio no social norms. Get out of here. But yeah, it's fun because then I get to use the part of my brain that wrote raps and writes raps and freestyles. That's like somebody asked me what my writing technique is or whatever. It's like, really, it's just freestyle. Even if it's not freestyle rapping, it's pick up a guitar and just make up a song, and there's probably a form there we can use. And that comes from the rap background.
So when you write, do you write top down or do you write choruses first? What do you do?
It depends. Yeah, if I pick up a guitar and we had nothing, if I picked up a guitar, I would start playing a progression, sing a verse,
See what comes from it.
Yeah, literally. Unless you said something, I'm like, oh, that's title. Then I'd try to land the hook.
Yeah.
And in that case, I might then I write backwards. I'll land the hook, the last 2 lines of the chorus, and be like, all right, we got to fucking get there. And then start at the chorus, and then we'll figure verses out. I could live with a verse chorus for 6 months, and then the second verse will come eventually. That's how I like to write.
Yeah, I mean, I write all different kinds of ways. I typically write a chorus first. That's pretty much where I got to start writing again, man. I hadn't written a song in over a year.
Well, let's write a song sometime.
It's about time. Let's
write a song sometime.
We need to definitely do that. It's time to get my head wrapped back around it. Well, I took a year off, man. I had a gap year.
Good for you.
Yeah, I took a little break because I just had my 30th anniversary in the music business, and I was tired.
Oh, yeah, you owe that to yourself.
You
go to Cabo or something?
We went to Italy. It was nice, yeah.
Where's that? Is that in Mexico?
You can't get there from here.
It's just below Switzerland. It's just to the right of Spain, and it's just to the left of Croatia.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to go there.
Have you been overseas at all yet?
No, I'm about to go to Australia or Auckland, New Zealand, and Australia.
That's a long flight, son.
Well, I've got 3 volumes. So
But how you gonna get back?
I'm gonna find 3 volumes there.
It's a long freaking way. Let me tell you, don't fly coach. I don't care if it costs you $5,000. You get business class. They got these little cubicles, man. You can set.
I think I'm doing premium, which is like the step below a cube, but the step above.
Get that cube. I'm telling you, it's worth the money.
Will you get it for me? I'll pay you back.
Oh, will you write a song with me?
I'll take 33% of a 2-way if you can get me the cube.
Golly. Oh, God.
That's how publishing works.
That's good to know. See what we've learned here today, boys.
We've learned where Italy is. This business of
music business with Tracy and Ern.
Yeah. This is a new podcast we can start.
Yeah, it's great. I set the fire alarm off at Big Loud the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You know that
right under it. I didn't even think about it.
You know that used to be the Lee Greenwood building, don't you?
Yeah, and it's haunted.
Is it haunted?
Yeah, at least it used to be.
I'd never been in that building all the years that I've been in town.
It was Curb Records at one, was it Curb? Or,
no, it wasn't.
It was where Garth signed his first record deal
Yeah.
in my old office down there.
Yeah, but that was the Lee Greenwood building, and Atlantic was in the red brick. Used to be the bank building right there, just past Emerald. But I'd never been in that building before. I sang on Hardy's record, Hardy's Hicks tapes. That's the first time I'd ever been in that building.
I mean, the energy in there is awesome. I don't know.
So tell me about the Ghost.
So the Ghost is, I guess that property was like one of the old Music Row mansions back in like the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Some German dude owned it, and he had 2 daughters that lived there, and he threw them like their ball or whatever, where everybody's supposed to come over, like 18-year birthday or something like that, and invited everybody. Nobody showed up.
They were ugly.
I think so. Good thing. Hey, I've never seen a ghost. I've never seen a bad-looking ghost. So they didn't show up. He was like, fuck this city. Let this building rot. And he just abandoned it basically and owned the property. And it decrepit. They mowed it down. the girls died, and they died there or whatever. They grew old
on that property.
on that property.
Really, I did not know.
So then, whatever building was built there, and I think it was Curb that was there at one point. But either way, the employees were getting riddled with activity, like the type of shit in movies, like chairs would be rearranged and like doors would lock behind them, or a candle would be on, and it was like, I think the final straw for a dude that owned it. Craig could tell you. Craig like has it down. There's a newspaper article framed in Big Loud about it, but the final straw, I believe, was second floor window was like main dude's office, and he walks out and gets in the parking lot. It's the last one out of the building, which nobody wanted to be the last ones out of the building. That was like the whole bit. Like, I don't want to be the last one in here. So the guy leaves. He had closed his blinds, shut the lights off, goes down to his car, looks up, blinds open, lights turn on, computer screen turns on, and he was like, fucking out of here. Craig had it exercised. When he bought the building, he had a priest come and exercise the place.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do.
Yeah. You ever seen any?
I've not seen a ghost. This is a true story. The next three are all things, unexplainable things, right? I don't know if it was a ghost. Maybe the electricity was fucked up. But did you know Dee Henley, Conway Twitty's widow?
Never met her. I know she.
Okay,
I know she is, but I never met her.
So she was the godmother of a kid that I went to school with named Nick, and so I would hang out with Nick after school, and we'd go to his house. It was in Northumberland. And obviously, it was Conway's house. So I was like probably a freshman in high school. Now, if I went there, if I knew I was walking into, Conway's house as a 31-year-old, I would have soaked up every inch of it. But then I was just like hanging out with Nick. We're running around. And we're up in the top room. There's like 6 Conway guitars, acoustic guitars. And I had my laptop, and we were going to record a song on like GarageBand or something. And I was like, can I play one of these guitars? He's like, yeah, sure. And dog, when so it was like track lighting like that up there. And when I tell you I picked up a guitar and started playing it, and the one light above Conway's guitar went off and the rest of the lights in the track was on, I went and set that shit back down. It turned back on, and Nick goes, "Oh, that's Conway." And I'm like, "What the fuck you mean that's Conway?" He's like, "Yeah, he's always doing shit." And so he went down to D. I'm like, this is my first encounter in life with something like that, and I'm like rattled. I'm afraid to touch the guitar keys. I'm like, I'm sorry. And we go down, and he explains that to D. He's like, the lights are fucking up above the guitars, and D, just without missing a beat, she goes, That's Kanye. That's Conway. She's like, I had an electrician come out because it was happening in all the rooms, and the electrician said there's no problems. So that was my first experience with what I believe was the ghost of Conway Twitty, which is awesome.
That's a pretty cool ghost story. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So what is it like? What is it like on Music Row these days? I mean, I kind of want to get a feeling of what downtown's like being in the music industry. When I first came to Nashville, Music Row was like this little town right in the middle of a big city.
Yeah.
So, we ran up and down the alleys. You had Sony Tree and ASCAP and BMI, and you had all the labels on Music Row. All the old houses were publishing companies, and you went to writing appointments all over the row. The studios, everything. There was so much contained in like those 3 or 4 streets right there. Now that it's changed so much, I mean, even DeMumbrian is not the same as it used to be. What's the vibe like down there being in the music business? I mean, does it have a vibe to it, or is it just another part of the city?
The vibe is definitely there. And the vibe you're talking about is there without, they're putting up high rises and all that. But Big Loud is popping every day. That whole building, the Cadillac side and Craig's office, we're conjoined, and it's just an open door. And there's kids in there writing every day at all hours of the day, and, taking lunch trips to Losers, coming up with song titles at the bar. oh, there's 2 more riders, let's go ride. Like, that's happening right now, and it's sick, and there's not, like...
Is it happening all over town, or is this like a special scenario that's going on? Because it doesn't seem like that's happening everywhere.
There's probably a couple of, like, there's 2 or 3 other places that's happening at, but really, our corner right there is like the hub where even other, it's not like you ain't got to be a big loud rider. There's all kinds of, every other rider in town's coming over there to kick it.
Just to hang out, just to vibe the energy of the whole thing going on.
I show up there with no schedule, and I'll just put my head in some rooms, and y'all need somebody, or like, that's kind of the vibe that's set. There are scheduled rights, but I feel like there's usually just a 3-way. Anybody could pop in, type of. Now, don't just start showing up, okay?
Oh, why not, man? I got a couple of days in the week.
No, not you. I just y'all.
And I asked that because I was hoping that there would be more of that going on, because I miss those days. And as you get older, man, as you raise the kids, man, my kids are off to college now, and you kind of settle into a different place of life. I'm not going down there and function. I mean, I used to spend. I'd go to the Music Row every day. Yeah. I had an office down there. I had the labels and different things.
I treat it like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I would just go into the office every day, go and have a cup of coffee, see what's going on. Even if you don't have an appointment, you're taking lunch meetings and doing other things. And I don't do that as much as I used to. But there used to be a great energy, even on charts. When back in the day, before everything was instant from digital media and stuff, when the charts would come out, we would all gather up at local bars and different things and wait for the numbers to come in, because you get the numbers from the week before. So you didn't know where your chart position was until the following week. So we'd gather up like the Hall of Fame lounge and stuff, so just cool. off Donaldson, and you'd go in there and have drinks and stuff. There'd usually be some crappy band on Monday night playing, and we'd come in there and hang out and drink and wait for the numbers to come in and see what your chart positions were. It was a very cool time.
I wish that was happening right now, because I guess I don't keep up maybe with charts as much as others, but at the same time, I do know how on my mind it is, and how cool it would be to just know I can't look at it. We're gonna find out here. We're gonna go to the bar and find out.
We'll hang out, and then we'll have a toast.
We might as well keep drinking.
I jumped Sammy Kershaw again. Yay!
Tough day, Sammy.
Oh my gosh!
What was your first number one?
Sticks and Stones, my first single. Yeah.
How quick did it change your life?
Instantly. It was drastic, dude. I mean, from the time I got to town. You got to realize, when I got to town, I got in town in September of 90, and in May of 91, I cut Sticks and Stones. So it was 7 months from the time I got to town, and I didn't know anybody when I got here.
Yeah.
And then Sticks and Stones was dropped in like that fall, and it went number 1 in January. So I didn't have nothing.
Wait, it was like that fast of a number one?
Yes.
Jeez.
I mean, back then, records 12 to 14 weeks, number 1, man. We were getting an album a year.
Yeah, and the 90s songwriting money was a total difference.
Because we were getting 4 singles a year. I was getting at least 2 to 3 videos per album. We were coming right behind it with another record. I mean, it was back to back to back to back to back to back. And we were slamming it back then. So in a 10-year period, we built a massive body of work. It takes so much longer now to do that than what it used to. But even as a songwriter, when you were back in the 90s, when we were living off album sales, if you got 6 or 7 album cuts a year, you were making $200,000 or $300,000 a year as a songwriter.
Right. Yeah, and album cuts were getting paid like today's single.
And every now and then you get a single, you get a top 5 or a number 1 hanging there. That's a big lick. You're living off the album cuts. It was a different time period, man. It was, and everybody was making money back then. It was a good time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going back. I wonder if it's going to get back in that direction, because I know that like streaming sites are user based. So the more users, the bigger the machine, which I kind of get. So I mean, in 10 years or 5 years, and I know the percentages just got in our favor, changed a little bit.
Yeah, they've upped the royalty rates off of that a lot, and
right.
But they need to, because nobody's buying physical product anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm very thankful to have had some radio singles, because I know...
Was Flower Shop your first hit?
Yeah, but it wasn't even number 1 on radio. Yeah. It was top 20. But yeah, Flower Shop, regardless, the radio play for me is like, hell yeah, if a song goes on radio, I'm stoked. But I'm really just gonna be writing the songs that I like to write. And if my fans and the people, if they say cool and want to sing it at my show or buy a ticket to come to the show, then that's sick. Radio is an awesome vehicle to get people to buy tickets too.
Yeah.
Which you got to have to a degree.
So what's your touring situation like? I mean, are you playing clubs when you go out? How much?
Yeah,
you
my
work on the road?
my headline stuff will be like 2,000 cap rooms this next fall. But I'm getting to go do direct with Morgan all year. Or 2 of 4 in stadiums and direct in arenas and amphitheaters. So super blessed to be able to, win some fans over in front of that kind of a market size.
Absolutely.
It's insane. And, I thanked Morgan the other night. I was like, yo, thank you for, taking me on. And he just goes, it's what friends do, bub. I'm like, God. Yeah, but still, I mean, it's a business, But he shows him putting faith in me for that role lights the fire I need under my ass to earn that role every night and deserve it every night and go out there and get to play. And that taking that energy into when I go, all right, here's win a handful of people over every night. I'm going to be playing in the fall, see y'all there, and then it's my show. And that's like, I eat that shit up. I love it because it's like these aren't just Morgan Wallen fans or they aren't just Hardy fans or whatever. They're Earn fans now. You're a follow Earn now.
That's it.
Okay, you're Earn fans now, and thank you for rocking with me because we're gonna grow it, and it's gonna, each year we're gonna grow it a little more. I love it.
That's really cool, man. It feels like y'all have such great energy over there at Big Loud.
The energy is good. Yeah.
It really is. It's like there's something special happening over there. I hope I get a chance to get to know Morgan a little bit better. I've met him one of the last festival things we did, but I hadn't had a chance to spend any time with him. Dig Hardy a lot, man. Hardy and I have spent a little time together. He's a very cool dude. He's pushing the envelope extremely hard.
Yes, and I love it.
I love it too. But
he's not sacrificing like any songwriting to push the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, and
songwriting's so good, even in the rock stuff. It's so good.
Absolutely. I don't think radio is going to embrace some of it, but in this day and age, you don't have to have everything go to radio. I love, and he and I talked about that, just about being able to bring some of those hardcore rock influences in and kind of push those boundaries. I think it's very cool, man. Nobody's pushed it that hard before.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was telling him too, like a lot of people that are pushing the envelope think 808s is the only way, where it's like, no, dog, how about double pedals and like, some hard ass rock and screamo, like that's another one.
I
grew up on that too, and our generation did. If there isn't a crew guy moving anything or tuning your guitar backstage, they didn't listening to heavy ass.
Oh,
metal.
They're listening to Metallica and sometimes black metal. Black metal's pushing it a little bit hard, but I've gone down the rabbit hole and dug into some of that stuff.
Danced with the devil now.
Oh yeah, man. I've listened to a little bit of everything, man.
Yeah. So, but I'm look, country music, like you were talking about Epsom flows. I've never been able to say that. I'm going to say Epstein flows. So, if I try, I'll fuck it up so bad. So, the way
even flows.
Yeah, even flows. There you go. The people got to push the envelope, and my version of pushing the envelope is almost pulling the envelope back. It's like
it's different for everybody.
It's different for everybody, and I've got a phone full of different rap EPs. I could drop it any minute, but I'm never gonna do that because I want my role and my legacy to be that. It's like I pushed it country.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I write pop country or I write the stuff with 808s. I freestyle over that. I can eat those. I love that stuff. But when Ernest is the name next to it, I want it to be country music.
It's got to have a brand, man. Yeah, and people got to kind of get an expectation of what you're about, and you build that over a period of time. It takes a while to build that. That's
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. I'm digging it, man. That's good.
Thanks. I'm digging Michigan.
Yes, absolutely. Me too.
What's
Shout
in
out
Michigan?
Michigan. The best.
Michigan.
The best.
Michigan.
Cowpoke?
Cowpoke. I just got this in Austin.
Talking about that pen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was saying it without saying it.
Okay. I'm just bleep.
No boundaries here. It's
Yeah. But Cowpoke, Yeah, just was at Rodney just got inducted to the Texas Songwriter Hall of Fame, and I went down there and got to sing him a song.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, shout out Rodney.
You want a shot?
I think that would be an excellent idea. Did you borrow your coat from Macklemore? Did you borrow that from Macklemore?
Oh, that one. No, but it does look like I might have. No, I got that at Double RL. That's cowhide.
Rawhide.
Rawhide, baby. Nice chest hair feature.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right. It's a good day, boys.
Yeah.
Damn it, ice cold.
How's your son?
He's gonna be 2 in April. Yeah, he's
Life changing, isn't it? Kids, man. Mine are both in college now, man.
That's crazy.
It's been a drastic thing,
Does
man.
it fly like everybody says it flies? I know that a year and a half and 18 months has flown.
Yeah, it does. You know, I still have vivid memories of them when they were little bitty and little things we did, and it's just hard to believe that they're grown young women. It's like gone.
Yeah, we're like, I don't know if we'll have a second one. Maybe we do. We're definitely not right this second because tour and stuff.
Yeah.
But thinking about Cap just being in the moment with them, because it's like, dang, you mean I ain't gonna have a toddler again? But then it's like 3 in the
But you
morning.
move
It's
to
like
the-
Dad yelling out of the crib. It's
But
like, yeah,
every stage has its own charm and specialness to it. It's really
Yeah.
amazing being able to go through the journey with them and watch them grow and
Yeah.
watch them evolve. Man, it's an amazing process.
It's been awesome.
It is. Gives you a lot of stuff to write about. Just don't
Yes.
write songs like Mr. Mom.
No, I won't. I could never. Who wrote that song? Do you know who wrote that song?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one with the spaghetti in my baby's hair?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
Lone Star stuff. Yeah.
Lone Star stuff. What are y'all doing tonight? Some Lone Star
I'm
stuff.
doing a little Lone Star music. Yeah. You know, John Rich used to be with Lone Star.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, and I've talked about it many times. I remember John, his grandmother used to make all his clothes. She'd take denim and leather, and she would put all his jeans together and stuff. And John was always out there.
Dude, John's mom's awesome for just styling him like that.
Oh, she's had him rocking, boy.
That's
I
sick.
love John, man. John's a smart guy.
Yes, he is.
I think a lot of him.
Yeah, I like John.
Oh yeah. Have you been following the Murdoch trial?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I
just
just
on Netflix, and then
I've watched the Netflix thing, man. Here's my problem. And they're probably going to be coming up with a verdict, so when y'all see this, it'll all be done. But I'm telling you, I have a hard time imagining that man, he's a liar, he's a thief, he's a crook, he's done all these awful things. But that's a big step to go from that to killing your wife and your son at point blank range.
I do not
And
believe he murdered.
I don't think he did.
I believe he knows who did. I saw a good theory, and you might know it. He had just, come across the wrong people, getting his drugs, and owed a shit ton of money, and couldn't come up with the money. And so, in classic mob,
It looks like a hit to me.
that's a hit.
2 different guns, the whole thing, man. It's just it's a lot. I can't make that leap of him killing them. I just can't.
And he's not going to rat them out because
It's because they might kill his other son.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I think he'll probably do a little time, but I think
Yeah, he's going to go to jail for a long time for the financial stuff that he did.
Yes, the verdict will not be murder one though.
I don't think they can convict him. And how did he get rid of the guns? How did he get rid of the clothes? I mean, because it doesn't show him leaving again. I mean, there's so much that doesn't add up. If he had gone and taken a shower, there would have been all kinds of particles and things in the drains. There's so much that they haven't found.
Yeah, there was a drone footage of some people loading up guns from the house and driving off with
Yeah,
them.
his brother.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So, who knows? I mean, look,
That was 2 or 3 months after the fact, too.
That's true. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and it seems like in watching that documentary, dude, there was so much smoke for so long around them Like the kid Paul. I know 50 Pauls. Like Paul.
Oh, we all know that guy.
We all
know that kid. We
Yeah.
all know that kid. We grew up with that kid.
I got to write with him at 3, but yeah, but no, Justin Wilson's great, but but yeah, watching that's like, man, I know this family. I've met these people before, and it's crazy that that's the shit going on. Our boy Alex just got a crazy opioid addiction, and all he's wild. His son's a wild and out piece of shit and kills a friend, and then it just keeps crumbling.
It keeps snowballing.
Jesus.
And supposedly the older son had a gay relationship with that other kid that got found in the middle of the street.
Right.
And all that stuff. It's just crazy stuff,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, what great Netflix material.
Yeah.
Netflix is like, oh, come on. Yeah.
How socially conscious are you? How do you read? Do you watch what's going on? I mean, how engaged are you? Do you kind of detach from the news, or are you engaged in what's going on?
I think I neither intentionally or non-intentionally don't get all the news. I think the algorithms has what I see figured out, which is not very news driven. But like I don't know if an election.
See, I'm curious. I try to ask a lot of social questions with a lot of younger artists, and it seems like either people don't want to engage issues for fear of backlash, or you just it's like I can't even deal with all of it.
I lean towards the can't deal with all of it, and me and Delaney argue about that because she does keep up with it, and her dad keeps up with it, and she's like one of the most empathetic souls and good human. She's one of the best humans.
Well,
and
she married you.
Yeah, she loves me, which says the rest. It's like
what else is there?
She she likes the broken. She falls for the broken. And but in doing so, like I get real big news issues when she tells me something's going on, but I don't ever watch TV. News is never on the TV. Twitter, I don't really even get on. And Instagram is like memes. And if something crazy's going, like I knew when Ukraine was happening, I know about the train derailment and stuff, but it's not like I'm going and reading New York Times articles about it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what's wrong with our generation is that it's a luxury to not care.
But
if it were Nashville, I'd be having to read a lot more about it.
But do you think a lot of your generation is detached from mainstream news?
I think so.
And you're watching more streaming platforms and things, and you're really not engaged in social issues and things that are going on. I mean, I'm just curious. I
wouldn't say our generation, but maybe just like me personally, I have not been tapped in to the news every day.
I can't say that I was engaged until after I started a family and I got older and a little bit older in life. I mean, really and truly, because none of it's relevant to you when you're, just running out here and chasing a career and doing all these other things, man. There's more important things on your plate every day.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I have been anyways, but I don't know. And you're right about it sucks that people like really can't be having an opinion one way or the other and still go out and sing songs.
I think it's changing. I think people have just about had enough. I think we're about to see the switch flip. I think we're going to get back to some normalcy. I feel it coming.
Good.
I think it's time.
Yeah. Either side should be able to speak freely without any backlash because it's
your personal
freely.
opinion. It doesn't mean that you have hate in your heart. It just means that you have an opinion or a moral compass that's different from somebody else's.
Yes.
It doesn't make yours any more right or wrong than somebody else's. It just means you have a different perspective or a different view. And that doesn't mean that I hate you for your view, but I don't want you hating me for my view either.
Right. Yeah, we should all just be able to have a beer. Can't we all just get along, Knack? Ain't that George?
Drink a beer.
That's right.
I let them Luke Bryan songs are so prolific.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pro what? Prolific.
I love Luke.
Prolific. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I get as much news as the least amount of news not possible, but big current events come across my plate. But I'm not I didn't read, what is it, the dossier. I'm not
The Still Dossier.
Yeah, whatever. The still dossier. Would you like still or sparkling dossiers? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing too much digging. Right now. I'm in the middle of having a.
See, I'm
2-year-old.
old. I don't go out at night, so I'm going down every rabbit hole I can find. That's my problem.
Yeah, I try to stay out of rabbit holes for now. Be very, very quiet. There's a rabbit hole over there. There's a rabbit hole. I think I saw a rabbit hole.
Help me, boys.
You got something? You can come up with something.
You come up with something.
Man,
Oh,
I love
Lord.
that. More Than My Hometown.
Yeah.
I love that song. Love You More Than Feeling When the Bass Hits a Hook. Now that's love right there. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Michael Hardy. No, dude, I'm telling you right now, that song. I made a joke last year at the Triple Play Awards. Last year, though, I got up there and I said, I'd like to thank my co-writers, and it sucks Michael Hardy can't be here tonight. He's actually in the hospital, had a slip disc from carrying my ass on his back through More Than My Hometown. That was a late night, right, at Big Loud. That wasn't your 11 to 3. We were hanging. Me and Charlie Hanson were hanging, and we were like, let's start at 7. We were drinking or something at Joey's, and boom. That song got written in about an hour and 10 minutes. I was halfway there for it. I remember when Hardy said, ain't it a map dot shame, and to think that I had like a hand towel in my hand and I threw it as hard as I could at the wall. I was like, ain't nobody on Music Row writing about map dot shames. So that was my inspiration. That's a funny instance, because that's one of those scenarios in a songwriting room where it's like some days you got it, some days you don't, some days you're there, some days you're not, and the beauty of a co-write and that atmosphere being created at Big Loud wasn't we got to sit here and write a song.
Got to grind it out.
Yeah, no, we were just hanging out. We were hanging out. So having More Than My Hometown, though, that's one of those I personally like. I'm conscious of how much ownership I take over songs based on how much I contributed. And maybe it shouldn't matter if I was there, I was there. But
Well, if you're in LA, it would matter. They count words out there.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, but that's not the way we do it.
I put More Than My Hometown in like my set sometimes when I'm not opening for Morgan. I'll play that because God, my set needed it, especially last year before I hadn't had many things. It's like, I'm just background music, and it's like, I know this one. It's like, but if I'm gonna like post a million times about a song, it probably wouldn't be one I didn't do that much on. That's me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You golf?
I do golf. I had neck and shoulder injuries last year. I didn't swing at all, but I'm ready to start playing again. I had neck surgery in December. I had to have some vertebrae fused together, so
That's why you took a year off.
yeah, I couldn't swing a golf club. Man,
man.
It was like somebody stabbing me in the shoulders with ice picks. Man, I couldn't
Have
do
you
anything.
tried?
I hadn't swung yet. I'm just getting back in the gym, starting to work out again. So it's been a little bit of a recovery.
Wow. I didn't know
It
that.
sucks to get old.
Yeah.
Never do it.
Don't do it at all costs.
Yeah.
Come on, Scott, what you got?
I'm just wondering, like, do you use music to, have a playlist for, exercise or for calming down or to get ramped up?
He exercises every day.
I do exercise every day. God damn it. Hey, what, you can't tell?
Look at that man.
Hey, I don't. I let the gym play what the gym's playing, but I do have a playlist that I listen to anytime in the car, and I always be adding songs to it. Rafe Timpany has a playlist, and if you're listening to this, it's called Good Ass Playlist, and you'll see Rafe Timpany made it, and it's got the widest variety of stuff on it. But I got this playlist right here that I was listening to on the way out here. It's called Feel Good Music. And let's see here. I'll tell you just, here we go. It's called Feel Good. Fast Cars and Freedom. Watching Airplanes. No Shoes, No Shirt. Free and Easy. Summertime. One More Day. Diamond Rio. Carolina. Cowboys Like Us. How About Them Cowgirls. Till Summer Comes Around. One of my favorite Keith Urban songs. Then we get into Sunday in the South. Ghost in This House. 2 Dozen Roses. Moon Over Georgia. You sure got
Shenandoah
this
binge.
old redneck feeling blue. Got that one on there. West Texas town, back in the swing of things. Don't you want to stay where the green grass grows? I'm coming over. Let's see.
Chrissy.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. See why? Must be doing something right. Little more country than that. Let's see. She's everything. Great Brad Paisley song. Big Green Tractor. Paint me a burning ham. Paint me a burning ham is right there. Somewhere with you. Broken Heartsville. Have you? And then here's the switch. I got so high that I saw Jesus. Noah Cyrus. Have you heard that song before?
No.
That song, listen, it's so good. I got so high that I saw Jesus by Noah Cyrus. I got addicted to that song like two years ago. It was just on my daily listen, and because of that song, I was in the same realm world musically, and ended up writing "Comfortable When I'm Crazy," which is like the contents are not the same at all.
Just kind of a vibe thing.
Just
got
that
you there.
the vibe, and it's like I didn't know what to expect out of a Noah Cyrus song at that time, but when that was what I heard, I was like, oh damn, this is like a great song, like a really great song. Let's see. You care if I keep going on the playlist?
Go, man. Come on.
So this is like these are the things that I just be listening to. Better Together, Jack Johnson. Still Feel Like Your Man, John Mayer. Bodies of Wonderland. Big Yellow Taxi, Counting Crows. Loretta. This Taylor Ashton and Y'all Fade O'Donovan. I don't know, but it's fire. Find Yourself, Lucas Nelson.
Yes.
3 a.m. Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
7 Days, Craig David. Met that girl on Monday, took her for a drink on Tuesday. We were making love by Wednesday. How Deep Is Your Love, but the P.J. Morton cover. That's The Way Love Goes.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably my favorite Haggard song. Let's see what we got here.
Now, picture this. Picture you're hungover as hell.
Okay, all right.
First thing in the morning.
I have a hard time thinking about what that would feel like. I can hardly imagine.
You wake up hungover as hell. You got a bunch of shit to do that day. You put on one song to get you rocking, get you to snap out of it. Mine's AC/DC, Stiff Upper Lip. What you got? Or the Chicago Bulls entrance theme. That makes me feel like I can pick up cars.
No, I would make me no. I need something a little more. If I'm hungover as shit and we gotta bring it in, I got a coffee and a little smoke.
We got a show to do tonight.
Who says I can't get stoned? Who's John Mayer? Who says I can't get stoned? Down house on da. Yeah, there you go. That would probably be my let's get this over with song. And one of my friend's dads always used to say first thing in the morning to him, let's get this day over with. Let's hurry up and get
That's
this
a
day
rough way to start a day.
over. Well, son, let's hurry up and get this day over with.
It's going to be a good day, man. So what's your summer schedule looking like?
We start touring March 12th, and then we're going every weekend doing dang old baseball stadiums. And
It'll be a fun summer, man.
I'm so pumped. I got a little KLX 110 Kawasaki.
What kind of band you carrying?
I got Chandler Walters on the pedal steel. He's 20 years old and badass. Grady Block on the drums. Billy Block's son. Do you know Billy Block?
I know who Billy Block is, but I don't know
Okay,
him.
so Grady Block and then Jordan Merrigan on guitars. And it all started with just me on acoustic, Grady on drums, running tracks. And we were just, making $500 a show. Here's $200, whatever. Fan of using venues guys or like whoever I'm opening for would run monitors. So now we finally got a little crew put together. We started rocking that way. We went from Grady to Jordan was TMing for me. But I knew he played guitar, and finally one night I think we were playing at Floribama or something, and I was like, "You want to just like plug in?" And
I love the Floribama.
yeah, dude, we're playing at Floribama, and I was like, "Yo, you're in the band, like you're not, but you still got to tour manage, but you're in the band." And so he was our TM and then guitar player and TM, and now I got a tour manager. Jordan's playing guitar. Chandler on steel. Found him on TikTok.
No kidding. Wow.
Dude, we were cutting the first half of Flower Shop's record. Flower Shops is already out, I guess, or No, Flower Shops wasn't out. It was just out on social media. But we had recorded all this shit, and Paul Franklin's dripping all over it. And Joey Moy was like, you gotta have a steel guitar player. If you're having this much steel guitar in your songs, I was like, yeah, definitely, but I don't know any, and they're all either on the road or old. Like, I just don't have any access to steel guitar players. Like, well, keep that in mind. You got a little time. That night, talking about algorithms, that freaking night, dude, on the For You, scrolling through TikTok, Chandler Walters, at the time he was 19, I see this kid, baby-faced kid, he looked like 16, and was playing Baby Locking Doors, and he was playing that intro lick. And I was like, dang. So I clicked on his thing, like watched it. He had been playing a few more, and I commented on it, and I was like, where are you at? And he said, wherever you need me. And I was like, Nashville. He's like, I'm already here. So he got out of high school, moved to Nashville.
Where was he from?
East Cobb, Georgia.
Wow.
And his parents brought him up here. And instead of getting an electric guitar, he was already a shredder and like played in bands and shit. And instead of coming to Nashville and picking up an electric guitar, he went to Carter Vintage and picked him out a pedal steel. And he said, I want to stick out. And I was like, well, you should do a cover of Flower Shops and post that. He goes, I already recorded it and sent it over. I was like, dog, you're so in the band. You're so in the band. Dude, skipped the whole band and all that shit. We've been blood, sweat, and tears for 18 months, and then run across Chandler, and Chandler shows up with his bags and gets up on the bus and says, which bunk can be mine? He's like, he's supposed to be in chemistry class right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Could you imagine?
I signed him to Cadillac, and because he'd been writing songs, and yeah, it's been good, man. It's like all the guys, and it's a big thing to go out on the tours we're going out on, and they're rising to the occasion.
They're freaking huge, man. You're in front of massive crowds, man. It's an amazing thing, man.
And they're rocking. Somebody asked me, was like, what's your sauce on stage? My sauce is my band. I would just be a dude with a guitar singing songs the best I could. But with my band, I got my sauce, that it all matters. I want to eventually add a bass and keys and fiddle. Like I want the whole thing, and I know it's going to go there, but I'm just, fiscally conscious on the way there. And I didn't want to cram 9 people in a fucking bus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to just still.
This is going to be an amazing year, man. I see music continuing to evolve. I think the industry is in a good place. I think your career is in a great place. Morgan's kicking it. Hardy's fixing to go out on his own headline stuff. Yeah. I think there's some great things that are happening this year. Yeah. Laney's killing it. I mean,
love Laney so much.
She's just the coolest chick, man. I really dig her, man. She's the real thing. She's put her time in. She's paid her dues, and she's reaping the rewards. I'm so proud for her, man, and I'm glad to see that happen to so many of you guys, man, that have put your time in. It's pretty awesome to see.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like we're in the dead thick of the paying the dues, and
there's
man. Dues to pay, but I'd rather pay them now.
But it's so much. I feel there's a lot of fun happening again. That everybody's enjoying it, and and the country's kind of getting back on track. And music is a big part of that, man. You got to have music to heal, man. Music is a big part of everything this country's about, man.
Amen.
That was the hardest part about COVID, is having all the music taken away from us. Man. That sucked the most for me.
Yeah, that sucked so bad. Just you can only listen to the same song so many times. I got to go hear it and make it and be it. And I don't want to write over a computer. Yeah. I want to do this. And
absolutely.
So, which we need to do. We do need to.
We're going to get that on the books, my friend.
We're going to do that. Mike G.
Brother, it's been great sitting and visiting with you.
I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, this has been. I'll come do this and come do my. podcast.
So when we run across each other on the road and you get your front lounge thing going, what are you going to call your road podcast?
It's going to be Just Be in Earnest, but I've thought about maybe still be in earnest since I took a year off.
Yeah.
Rolling with Ernest, maybe if it's
Rolling
on a bus.
Yeah, but I need to come. I need to come check your crib out and feed me some alcohol.
Can do
all those things.
I have a special stash just for you.
Those are very, very important.
Can do, will do. Thanks for having me. It's been great, and I look forward to getting to catch up more off air.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. So all your socials,
at Ernest, except for I think TikTok's Ernest615. So
rock on, baby.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you, buddy. Peace out.